The massive silver ships of the Vorthan Empire hung in space like deadly metal sharks. Their hulls gleamed with advanced technology that could destroy entire planets. Fleet Commander Rothkill watched the small human vessels through his viewing screen. He laughed at what he saw. The human ships looked like metal boxes with fire shooting out the back. They used simple rockets and basic steel armor. To Rothkill, they seemed like children's toys compared to his mighty war fleet. Captain Han Min sat in his chair on the bridge of the Earthship called Freedom. His crew worked quietly around him. They had been exploring this part of space when the alien ships appeared. The aliens were much bigger and looked very dangerous. A voice came through the radio. It sounded angry and proud. The computer translated the alien words into human language. "Weak creatures," the alien commander spoke. "You have entered our space without permission. I am Fleet Commander Rothkill of the Great Vorthan Empire. Your ugly ships must give up now, or we will turn you into space dust." Captain Han looked at his weapons officer, Lieutenant Park Soo. She was a young woman with smart eyes. Her hand stayed ready near the weapon controls. All around the bridge, the crew stayed calm but alert. "This is Captain Han Min of the Earthship Freedom," he replied in a steady voice. "We are here in peace. We are exploring and learning about space. Maybe we can talk and become friends instead of enemies." The alien commander made harsh laughing sounds. On his ship, other alien creatures also laughed. The Vorthans had conquered many worlds before. They had destroyed 17 different species across the galaxy. Each time, the other creatures had given up quickly when they saw the power of Vorthan weapons. "Friends," Rothkill said with more laughter, "you speak like you have a choice. Your people are too weak and stupid to understand how powerful we are. Give up now and we will kill you quickly instead of slowly." Captain Han turned to his radio officer, Corporal Kim Do. The young man waited for orders with his hands on the communication controls. "Send a message to her command," Han said quietly. "Tell them we have met aliens who want to fight us. Ask them to protect all our colonies and get our defense fleets ready." Back on the alien ship, Rothkill could not believe what he was hearing. No species had ever refused to surrender to the Vorthan Empire. They all knew that fighting the Vorthans meant certain death. "Sir," Captain Han's voice came through the radio again. "We say no to your demand. But our government would be happy to meet with your leaders. We can discuss borders and trade. We believe all species can live together in peace." The alien bridge became completely quiet. Several Vorthan officers looked at each other with confusion. They had never heard any species talk to them this way. Most creatures begged for mercy when they saw the Vorthan fleet. Rothkill's face turned dark with anger. His sharp teeth showed as he spoke. "You dare to say no to the Vorthan Empire? Your rudeness will cost your entire species their lives. I declare total war against all humans. Your worlds will burn and your people will become our slaves." The alien commander turned off the radio. Then he sent a message to every civilized species in the galaxy. He wanted everyone to watch as he destroyed the humans. Listen well. His voice traveled through space to reach distant worlds. "The mighty Vorthan Empire has begun to clean out a disease called humanity. These stupid creatures dare to disobey us. In 1 year, humans will exist only in our history books as another defeated enemy." On the human ship, Captain Han spoke to his crew over the ship's communication system. "All crew members, this is your captain. Go to battle stations immediately. This is not a practice drill. Prepare for combat." Lieutenant Park Soo looked up from her instruments. "Sir, the aliens are charging their weapons. Their energy readings are extremely high." Captain Han nodded seriously. He had been a soldier for many years and had fought in several wars on Earth. He knew the aliens were very powerful, but he also knew that humans never gave up easily. "All crew, this is the captain speaking," he announced. "We are about to fight aliens who think they are better than us. They believe we will be easy to defeat because our technology is simpler than theirs. They are about to learn that humans do not surrender, and we do not make war the same way other species do." The first alien weapons fired. Bright beams of energy shot across space toward the human ships. The war between humans and the Vorthan Empire had begun. The aliens expected to win quickly and easily. They thought humans would be just another weak species to add to their list of conquests. But they had made a terrible mistake. They had declared war on a species that had been fighting and surviving for thousands of years on one of the most dangerous planets in the galaxy. The Vorthans were about to discover what it meant to fight creatures who had evolved to be perfect warriors. The galaxy would never be the same again. 3 months had passed since the first battle, and Fleet Commander Rothkill stared at reports that made no sense to him. The humans should have been destroyed by now. Their world should be empty ruins. Instead, his mighty fleet was losing ships every day. "Explain this to me again," Rothkill demanded as he looked at his war advisor, Subcommander Telvass. The computer screen showed the wreckage of the 7th Battle Group, floating in space near a human space station. "The human ships fight in ways we have never seen before," Telvass reported, his voice shaking with confusion. "They do not use proper battle formations. Instead, they crash their ships into ours on purpose. Some of them even blow up their own engines next to our vessels. Their weapons are weak, but they use them in patterns that somehow work very well." On the human side of the war, Admiral Park J stood on the bridge of the Earth warship Thunder. His weathered face showed the strain of 3 months of constant fighting, but his eyes remained sharp and determined. He had been promoted quickly because of his success against the aliens. "Give me a status report," he ordered his tactical officer, Major Cho Su. "The alien Fifth Fleet is regrouping near the Saturn defense line," she replied, her fingers working quickly on the computer controls. "Our intelligence shows they're confused by our fighting methods. They keep expecting us to fight like they do." Admiral Park smiled grimly. "Good. Being underestimated is our biggest advantage. How are our new weapons working?" Major Cho brought up another screen, showing modified human ships. "Our engineering teams have successfully taken alien shield generators from destroyed ships and put them on 12 of our destroyers. The weapon improvements are working 40% better than before. What the aliens could not understand was humanity's greatest strength, the ability to adapt quickly. While alien species spent years perfecting their military tactics, humans threw away the rule book completely. They studied every battle, took apart every piece of alien technology they could find, and made improvements within days instead of years." Lieutenant Nam Min, the intelligence officer, walked over with a data tablet. "Sir, we have intercepted more alien communications. They are calling us chaos fighters and unpredictable primitives. Their commanders are asking their home planet to send more help." "Excellent," Admiral Park replied. "Fear makes them predictable. What is the status of Operation Backtrack?" "Captain Song Du's secret mission team successfully captured an alien supply base 3 systems behind their battle lines," Nam Min reported. "They are bringing back complete energy weapons and what looks like their long-range communication equipment." Back in alien space, Fleet Commander Rothkill received reports that made his blood run cold. Human forces had somehow gotten deep into Vorthan territory, attacking supply ships and communication stations with perfect precision. Even worse, they were taking Vorthan technology and making it better. "How are they improving our own designs?" Rothkill shouted at his science advisor. "Their technology is hundreds of years behind ours." "We do not know, Fleet Commander, but our equipment is being returned to us with changes that make it 30% more efficient. They are not just copying our technology, they are making it better." The thing that was starting to terrify the Vorthans was simple. Humans did not fight to preserve honor or follow ancient traditions. They fought to win by any method necessary. Every loss taught them something new. Every victory was immediately studied and improved upon. In one recent battle, human ships had pretended to retreat, leading a Vorthan fleet into an asteroid field. Then small human fighters hidden in the rocks attacked the alien ships from all directions. The Vorthans lost half their fleet before they could escape. In another engagement, humans had captured a Vorthan communication ship and used it to send false orders to an entire alien battle group. The confused Vorthans ended up attacking each other, while human forces watched from a safe distance. Captain Lee Su commanded one of the human ships that specialized in these unusual tactics. Her crew had become experts at thinking of new ways to use alien technology against its creators. "Sir," her engineer reported. "We have finished installing the captured alien engines on our ship. We can now move twice as fast as before." "Good," Captain Lee replied. "And the new weapons?" "Ready for testing, sir. We combined their energy weapons with our missile systems. The aliens have never seen anything like it. What made this even more frightening for Vorthans was that humans seemed to enjoy the challenge. While alien commanders grew more desperate and confused with each defeat, human officers approached each battle like it was an interesting puzzle to solve. Admiral Park received the latest intelligence reports with satisfaction. The aliens are starting to realize they are not fighting a primitive species. They are fighting something much more dangerous, a species that has learned to turn war into a science. As the second part of the war ended, the Vorthans were beginning to understand a terrible truth. They were not fighting simple creatures with basic technology. They were fighting a species that had spent thousands of years learning how to kill efficiently, and they were getting better at it every single day. The hunters had become the hunted, and the galaxy's former rulers were only starting to realize what that meant. The Vorthan Intelligence Center worked day and night to learn about their mysterious enemy. What they discovered about humanity would give them nightmares for the rest of their lives. Science advisor Kreldon stood before the High Command Council, his hands shaking as he prepared to share his findings. The big screen behind him showed pictures of Earth, the human homeworld, and the information was terrifying. "Honored leaders," Kreldon began, his voice barely steady, "we have made a terrible mistake. These humans are not like any other species we have ever fought." High Leader Vexera leaned forward in her chair, her blue skin glowing in the light of the display. "Tell us what you have learned, Science Advisor. What makes these creatures so different?" "Their home world, this place called Earth, is what our scientists call a death planet. The gravity is very strong, the weather is violent and unpredictable, and the life forms there." Kreldon stopped, trying to stay calm. "Every single animal and plant on that planet is designed to kill or be killed. On Earth, General Kim Tae sat in his command center deep underground in Seoul. The old military leader had been brought out of retirement when the war started. His experience in fighting against stronger enemies was now very valuable against the aliens. Sir, his assistant, Colonel Yu Min, walked over with the latest reports. "Our deep space scouts have found the alien home world. The planet looks like a beautiful garden with no dangerous animals. Their species grew up without any real threats." General Kim nodded grimly. "That explains why they fight in such predictable ways. They have never had to adapt quickly or die." "What about their military history?" "Most of their victories came from having better weapons alone. They would arrive at a planet, show their advanced technology, and the other species would surrender rather than be destroyed. They have rarely fought a long war." Back in alien space, Kreldon continued his frightening presentation. "We have learned that humans have no natural predators left on their world. Our research shows this is because they killed or controlled every creature that was a threat to them. They did not grow up alongside predators. They became the ultimate predator." The council room became completely silent. The meaning was clear and terrifying. Every other species of Vorthans had grown up in balanced environments where something else kept their aggression in check. Humans seemed to have no such limits. "There is more," Kreldon added reluctantly. "Our historical research shows that humans have been fighting wars with their own species for over 10,000 of their years. They have created an estimated 40,000 different ways to kill each other, many of which they call creative uses of available resources." High Leader Vexera's blue skin began to turn pale, a sign of extreme fear among her people. "Are you telling us that these creatures have been at war for their entire history?" "Not just at war, honored leader. They seem to treat warfare as a form of evolution. Every fight teaches them new methods, which they then improve upon. They call it learning from mistakes." The evidence kept piling up. Humans had turned their own home world into a training ground for conflict. They had developed military technologies, strategies, and psychological warfare techniques that no other species had ever needed to create. They had not just survived on their dangerous planet. They had thrived by becoming more deadly than anything else it could produce. General Kim studied the latest reports from the battle zones. Human forces were now using captured alien ships, so well that they performed better than the original crews. Even more disturbing to the aliens, humans were beginning to hunt individual alien commanders, targeting leaders with precision that came from centuries of experience in this type of warfare. Colonel Yu, General Kim said thoughtfully, the aliens are beginning to understand what they are really fighting. Their communication intercepts show increasing panic in their command structure. I think it is time to show them what humans do when we are truly angry. Sir, activate the Hunter protocols. It is time to take this war to their leaders personally. In the Alien Command Center, Fleet Commander Rothkill read the same intelligence reports that had terrified the High Council. For the first time in his long military career, he felt something he had never experienced before: real fear. The reports painted a picture of a species that was perfectly designed for total war. Humans had evolved on a world where everything tried to kill them, so they had learned to kill everything else first. They had spent thousands of years fighting each other, creating new and better ways to destroy their enemies. Even worse, they seemed to actually enjoy the challenge of war. While other species fought to survive or to protect their homes, humans appeared to fight because they were good at it and found it interesting. Sir, his intelligence officer reported, we have also discovered that human children play games that simulate warfare. They begin learning military tactics before they are even adults. Rothkill felt his confidence crumble completely. These humans were not just another species to be conquered. They were something far worse than the Vorthans had ever imagined, a species that had evolved to be perfectly suited for endless war, and they were just getting started. The galaxy's former rulers were finally beginning to understand the true horror of what they had awakened. The war had been going on for 8 months, and the Vorthan Empire found itself in a situation it had never faced before. They were losing. What started as a simple plan to destroy a primitive species had become a nightmare that was destroying their entire military force. High Leader Vexera called an emergency meeting of the War Council. The computer screens around the room showed the terrible truth. 17 Vorthan fleets destroyed, 43 worlds under human control, and supply lines cut off everywhere. We must try different methods, she announced to the gathered commanders, though the words felt like poison in her mouth. Our normal way of fighting has not worked. Fleet Admiral Thekbor, one of the few surviving senior commanders, stood up to speak. His armor was damaged from his recent fights with human forces. Honored leader, I ask permission to attack human civilian populations. If we cannot break their military, maybe we can break their spirit. The suggestion made everyone in the room uncomfortable. The Vorthans had never needed to use such tactics before. Their superior technology had always been enough to make other species surrender. Meanwhile, on the human command ship U.S. Victory, Admiral Li Min reviewed intelligence reports with her senior officers. The experienced commander had earned her position through 8 months of increasingly clever human victories, and her battle tactics had become standard procedure throughout the human fleet. The aliens are getting desperate, she observed, studying the latest intercepted messages. Our codebreakers have decoded their communications. They are planning to attack our colonies directly. Her intelligence officer, Commander Pac-Du, nodded grimly. They think civilian casualties will force us to surrender. They really do not understand human psychology very well. Admiral Lee allowed herself a cold smile. No, they do not. When humans are threatened, we do not give up. We fight harder. Prepare to activate the Hunter Protocol. The alien attack on New Sol Colony came without warning. Orbital bombing platforms turned the human settlement to ash within hours, killing 300,000 civilians. The Vorthans broadcasted destruction across human space, along with demands for immediate surrender. The human response was not what they expected. Within 48 hours, every Vorthan commander above the rank of subfleet leader found themselves being hunted by human special forces teams. These were not random attacks. They were precise strikes that showed detailed knowledge of alien hierarchy, personal habits, and security systems. High Admiral Grektos was the first to die, killed in his private rooms aboard his flagship by a human infiltrator who had somehow gotten past every security system the Vorthans had. His death was followed by a message broadcast directly to alien command frequencies for New Sol, first of many. The psychological impact was immediate and devastating. Alien commanders who had never felt personal fear in combat suddenly found themselves looking over their shoulders, jumping at shadows, and requesting more and more security measures that proved useless against human cleverness. How are they doing this? Fleet Commander Rothkill demanded of a security chief. 3 more high-ranking officers had died in the past week, each killed in ways that should have been impossible. Unknown, Fleet Commander. They seem to have detailed information about our command structure, personal schedules, and security protocols. It is as if they know us better than we know ourselves. What the aliens could not understand was that humans have been perfecting the art of unconventional warfare for thousands of years. Gathering intelligence, psychological operations, and targeted elimination of enemy leadership were not new ideas to humanity. They were basic parts of human military thinking. The situation got much worse when the Vorthans made their most desperate move: planet-killer weapons. The destruction of a human colony on Kepler Prime was meant to be their ultimate show of power. Instead, it became their biggest mistake. The human response was swift and absolute. Within 1 week, 3 Vorthan worlds had been evacuated under threat of similar destruction. But the humans did not stop there. They began hunting down the specific commanders responsible for planet killer authorization, their families, and anyone connected to the decision. They are not fighting a war anymore. Science advisor Kreldon reported to the increasingly desperate High Council. They are systematically eliminating our command structure. This is not military strategy. This is predatory behavior taken to its ultimate level. High Leader Vexera's blue skin had lost all its natural glow. The species that had dominated the galaxy through superior technology and intimidation was learning what it meant to be hunted by something that had evolved to be the perfect predator. Admiral Li Min coordinated the human response from her command center. The aliens have crossed a line by targeting our civilians. Now we show them what humans do when we are truly angry. Every alien commander involved in civilian attacks becomes target. Every alien world that supported those attacks becomes a potential target. This is no longer just a war. This is an extermination of their leadership. The human forces moved with deadly efficiency. They used captured alien technology, improved alien weapons, and intimate knowledge of alien psychology to turn the war into a nightmare for their enemies. Every Vorthan leader lived in constant fear, never knowing when a human strike team might appear. As the 4th phase of the war ended, the Vorthans faced a terrifying reality. They had not just underestimated humanity's military abilities. They had awakened something that viewed total warfare as a natural way of existence, and now it was hunting them personally. The once mighty Vorthan fleet that had proudly declared war on humanity now consisted of just one damaged flagship drifting through empty space. Fleet Commander Rothkill sat alone in his command room, surrounded by the wreckage of what used to be his empire's greatest military force. His communication screen lit up with an incoming message. The face that appeared belonged to Admiral Kim So, the human commander who had systematically destroyed 3 Vorthan fleets using tactics that made no sense to alien military thinking. Fleet Commander Rothkill, Admiral Kim said, her voice carrying the quiet confidence of complete victory. I think we need to talk. Rothkill's jaw muscles tightened nervously. Around him, his bridge crew worked in terrified silence. The humans had shown they could appear anywhere at any time, with devastating results. There was nowhere left to run. What do you want, human? Admiral Kim leaned back in her command chair, studying the alien leader with the cold gaze of a predator looking at wounded prey. I want to give you the same choice you gave Captain Han Min 10 months ago. Surrender or be destroyed. The irony was not lost on the alien commander. He had started this war expecting quick victory over a primitive species. Now he faced a representative of an enemy that had not only defeated his forces, but seemed to have actually enjoyed doing it. On the human flagship U.S. Dominion, Admiral Kim's staff monitored the alien response. The bridge crew worked with the calm efficiency of a species that had turned warfare into an art form. Captain Song Du, Kim's tactical officer, reported the final numbers. Admiral, Vorthan fleet strength is down to 8% of original levels. Their civilian government has already submitted preliminary surrender terms. The Empire's military leadership has been effectively eliminated. Admiral Kim nodded, but kept her attention focused on the alien commander on her screen. Fleet Commander, Your species made a critical error in judgment. You assumed that having better technology meant you were a superior species. You were wrong. Back on Earth, the war's end was being analyzed by scientists and military historians. Dr. Park Jo, the lead researcher on the Human Vorthan War study, presented her findings to the United Earth Council. The Vorthans represent a classic example of what we now call apex complacency, she explained. Their species reached the top of their local environment through technology and stayed there through intimidation. They never developed the adaptability that comes from constant evolutionary pressure. Council Chairman Lee Ho reviewed the final casualty reports. And our losses? Surprisingly low for a conflict of this scale. Human forces adapted faster than Vorthan forces could respond. By the final phases, we were essentially hunting them with their own improved technology while they were still trying to understand our basic tactical thinking. The surrender ceremony took place in neutral space, witnessed by representatives from dozens of galactic civilizations. Fleet Commander Rothkill, the only surviving member of the original Vorthan High Command, signed a treaty of unconditional surrender with shaking hands. Admiral Kim so accepted the document with formal politeness, but her words carried a warning that echoed across the galaxy. Let this serve as a lesson to any species considering aggressive action against humanity. We are not a primitive species to be conquered. We are the product of millions of years of evolutionary warfare, and we have turned a heritage into a science. As the ceremony ended, the various alien ambassadors left in thoughtful silence. The galaxy had witnessed the rise of a new apex predator, and the implications were staggering. In the months that followed, humanity began integrating captured Vorthan territories into their expanding sphere of influence. But unlike their predecessors, humans did not rule through fear alone. They offered partnership to species willing to coexist peacefully, while making it clear that aggression would be met with overwhelming and creative violence. The Vorthan Empire was reformed as the Vorthan Republic, with human advisors helping to establish democratic institutions. Rothkill, pardoned but stripped of military rank, often found himself thinking about the war's outcome. They did not just defeat us, he confided to a fellow former commander. They enjoyed it. Every battle, every strategy session, every technological adaptation. They approached it with an enthusiasm that borders on artistic appreciation. We were not fighting soldiers. We were fighting a species that had evolved to find beauty in conflict. Admiral Kim So, now promoted to Fleet Admiral and Supreme Commander of Human Space Forces, stood on the observation deck of her flagship, watching the reconstruction efforts in former Vorthan space. Her aide, Captain Udu, joined her at the viewport. Any regrets, Admiral? Kim So considered the question carefully. None. The Vorthans made their choice when they declared war on humanity. They learned what every predator species eventually discovers. There's always something higher on the food chain. The galaxy had indeed found its new apex predator. Humanity had proven that intelligence, adaptability, and the willingness to embrace total warfare created a combination that no amount of advanced technology could overcome. The age of human expansion had begun, and the universe would never be the same. Other species began sending diplomatic missions to Earth, eager to establish peaceful relations with the new galactic power. They had all learned the same lesson. It was much better to be humanity's friend than their enemy. The war was over, but humanity's story in the stars was just beginning.